and welcome back to another video. So today, I thought I'll take you guys along with me while we draw. I think we're gonna do some Pokemon Chibis together, but I think I'm gonna do it kind of like formatted in this way. So I'm gonna do real-time drawing Canary, most likely, with her Pokemon partner Electros. And then for the rest of these, I think I'm gonna put them into time lapse so that you'll still get to see the process of majority of these, but I'm gonna see if I can just like do as many as I can for today's session. So today we are working in XPPen. I'm gonna be hanging out in the bottom right hand corner, and my idea technically is to find a way that I can kind of keep all the Chibis kind of like consistent, but like different enough so that it still shows like their personalities. And I'm gonna show you kind of what I mean. So I don't remember if I ever showed this in a video. It was for probably a Corbeau drawing video at some point, but this is what I initially had planned. I don't really like the proportionings and just like the general way how I drew Corbeau, so I don't know if I'm gonna keep this one. Maybe we'll do like similar where we're gonna keep like the thicker lines and where it's like more of the simple cell shading. That, and I drew these ones in Procreate. So we have Corbeau again, so he's kind of like in a more of like a sitting pose, and he has like the Pokeball, or in this case I think it's supposed to be a dust ball. And then I also have, ooh, I don't know how to say her name. Yasin? Yasin? One second, I'm gonna look up how to say her name real quick. Okay, so apparently you pronounce her name as Jason? I don't know French, because I never really took it all too much, like too seriously in school, but I guess that's what we're gonna be calling her. So I have her with Clefable. I might want to find a different way how do I want to pose them, because I want to include like their kind of like their specialty Pokeball that they end up using. I didn't really know that like a lot of them had more specific Pokeballs for their entire team. Also, I have PureRef right here. You guys can't really see it super well, but I like to do this so that I can keep all of my images and references in one place, and I have it floating on top of my XPPen so that I don't have to like keep shuffling my windows. But I have all like the Pokemon, the trainer with their official art for the most part, because those were released recently, which I found kind of strange timing. I was like thinking in my brain, like kind of complaining that I couldn't find good references of Jason. So I decided to, you know, compile these as much as I could so that I could find a way to draw her full outfit, and then they drop the references because I needed a better way to see her entire outfit so that I can find something that's a little bit more incorporating the ball that they used alongside with making them a little bit more consistent. I don't know if I want to go maybe all of them sitting or if I want to go this route. So sometimes for Chibi, so these ones are my Ensemble Stars ones, I've done it in a way where they're all relatively like same size and have like a very similar format, but I've changed their poses to kind of be a little bit different from one another. So we have Rinne, we have Nikki, we have Kohaku, and we have Himeru. So they're all like, you know, somewhat similar but somewhat different. So they're not exactly following like one base. I was also potentially going to draw Alien Stage again as Chibi. So this one also kind of has like, they all follow a similar base. So like knees bent, they have like an outstretched arm, and then their other hand can do whatever else. Then we have Mizi, which has kind of like both hands stretched out. We have Luca, we have Ivan, and then we have Hyuna. So they all follow like a very similar base for the most part. One for proportioning, and then two for consistency. Or once again, something like this. We have Zeo, we have Sable, we have Calyx, and we have Frio. So they all follow the same base. I'm debating if I want to go that route so that they have consistency and they look cute as a set. So I'm gonna have her like just chilling on the side for now, and then we're gonna get our sketching brush, which I am always indecisive of what I want to use. I think I'm gonna use the sketch pen too this time. But I won't label this as Canary quite yet, because like I said, we could do a thing where we make a base and try to figure out how we want to draw them. So if I can get like a bit of a consistent base, then maybe that'll work, and I'll just adjust it to the character slightly. Sitting. Or not sitting, kind of like this. I kind of want to give them chunkier feet. I don't know how I want to draw my Chibis at this point. I guess arms could be like free to do whatever, but then maybe we have them sitting on the Pokeball they use for their team. So in this case, I want the Pokeball to be consistent, so we'll just make sure that this has like a proper shape for it to follow. And then I'm gonna try to find a way to make this character kind of look like they're sitting on it. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with her arm though. I might also make like a line art template for the Pokeball, so like the entire shape is like gonna remain the same, because there's not really too many like oddly shaped Pokeballs. So the thing about Chibis is that I feel like you have a lot of leeway with how you wanna draw them. You can give them like tiny hands, you can give them like large hands, large feet, give them really skinny, long legs, small feet. There's so many things you can do with the proportionings that I feel like gets very tailored toward your preferences, on what you think like maybe looks cute or aesthetically pleasing. So we're just gonna stick with something like this. I'm just gonna try to flesh it out and make it look like Canary. I might also look up an extra reference. So eye style is also something that I struggle with, and just like general proportioning of the face. I never gave my Chibis noses, and I feel like their faces tend to be fairly like large. And I don't mean like their heads, I mean like the gap between the eyes to the chin tend to be a lot larger for my Chibis. But I think it'll be fun to do Pokemon ones right now, because a lot of them can be kind of like stylized in a fun way. Forget her mask, which will alter the shape of her face in general. I really do like a lot of the character designs though in ZA. Also, I'm gonna keep experimenting with how I want to draw Chibis for this, and I might change like some of my other Chibi stuff that I've drawn recently. Because I drew this recently and I don't know if I like it. I think Sable's looks really cute. I feel iffy about the other boys. So this is what I'm kind of debating. I kept it still very simple, and it's mostly cell shading minus like some parts of the skin. But I kind of missed like that softer style too, so I don't know what exactly I want from my Chibis. Also song-wise, I'm listening to Prelude of Love by Dogyam and Seungwan. It feels very spring to me, and I think where I live currently, it's very warm despite it being only January. Like usually we get snow well into March at times, and it's very cold and it gets very snowy. Maybe I shouldn't jinx it, but right now it's very much warm. Like we're back in the positives, and it's not even like the low positives, it's like 13 degrees Celsius. If you guys are also a fan of Pokemon, what you consider like your Pokemon partner or companion? And I'm always indecisive. I don't know if it'll be like a grass type, would it be a water type, or is it just something purely off of aesthetics? Like a part of me really likes Buddu, but I'm like, I gave it to Masaki. Even though Masaki has like plenty of grass types as well. I also really like the Litwick line. So I don't know. Oh, I didn't really think where Electros would be. Also, this is the Quick Ball. I think there's 2 people who use the Quick Ball out of like what you would consider like NPCs or characters you have to battle in Pokemon ZA. ZA? Pokemon ZA. I'm Canadian. I think these will look so cute. Also, I'm planning on making these as charms is my goal. I wanted to make more charms this year of like series that wasn't just like VTubers, because I feel like my interests have like expanded to a certain degree. So I wanted to do these. I was also trying to think how I want to make Witch Hat Atelier charms as well, or a sticker set or something. But I feel like they'll be so cute as like a wooden pin set, whether it's acrylics, not acrylics, whether they're keychains or they're like pins or something. I'm gonna look into it. I'm kind of glad I stuck with Canary first. Her chunkier kind of like style of clothing, it's kind of fun. And I mentioned this before, whenever I do like sketching, especially for Chibis, because that's what I used to do the most, I like being able to sketch and draw with like a tool that I can flip back and forth with the transparency. Oh, I don't know if I can make this more, like her arm is more back facing than it actually is. But what I'm talking about is the fact that it makes it a lot quicker for me to sometimes bulk out form or like, you know, erase or add a new line. Because like literally if you have like, let's say a bunch of scribbles like this, like I can take the eraser tool and like kind of carve out the shape that I want. Maybe something like that works a little bit better. We're gonna figure out this hand. Then back to her hoodie. Shoes, really cute, kind of chunky. I think this is what we're gonna go with. She looks really cute. I don't know if it's because she looks so round. What we're gonna do next is trying to find a way to put Electros. Let me see if I can find a way to make them look kind of cuter. Because there's some Pokemon I feel like I can draw, but it might be too like one-to-one to the actual model. But oh boy. Electros, why? I'm thinking I want to go with like a softer, chunky brush for... Also, I kind of want... Do I want Electros happy? I'm gonna look up references to see how can I change this expression. I like having extra on my phone sometimes because it's easier for me to just like constantly search up new things rather than like adding so many images all at once, because I do like to collect references prior to drawing if I can. I forget what game it is, but the one that you can like play around with the Pokemon and I think you give them like Pokepuffs and stuff. I don't know if they're Pokepuffs. A lot of them have like cute expressions, so I can actually see what the Pokemon look like. These Pokemon's like this. I think it's Haunter who has like an eye that looks like this, right? This is like Haunter. But his eyes, like sometimes when he closes his eyes and gets happy, it's like this inside part is where he would close his eyes. But then I think I've seen an image where he closes his eyes like this. I'm like, which one's your eye? So it's kind of the same thing. Like the inside is where their pupil and I guess their entire eye is, and the red part is not part of their eyeball. Or it is, maybe it is. And this turns to be yellow. Sparkles. I do want these charms specifically to be also similar to, I think my Alien Stage charms have this. They have like a gradient going from a color to clear, I think. Time for line work, line art. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these guys into a folder. We're gonna make a new folder with a new layer. We're also gonna dim down our opacity. I might also change this to white, just so we can see our line art a little bit more easily. Now, what do we want to do for line art? I feel like more recently I've been using the Melty brush. So if I use this on the softest setting, I think we should be okay. Size 10, size 12. Maybe I'll use size 12. I like, also, if I can, marking this down. I think sketch pen, and then we'll do lines. We're using the Melty brush. I stated this before. I like just solid filling eyes. It is easier for me to color later, especially with the way how I like to do it, I guess. Lower the opacity again, not fully, but usually the eyes, I keep it so that it sits on top of where the hair is, so that we can have some transparency. Also, if you're ever like merging layers, make sure to put them back to their normal opacity, then merge them. Otherwise, you're gonna have them at different opacities. I used to make my Chibis like really detailed to a certain extent, I think I've wanted to always knock back as much as I can nowadays. One, I just find it works better for like cleaner coloring, but also I just like the look of bolder lines more recently for Chibis. So I feel like the majority of these have like a very standard look to them, which actually works a little bit better. So as long as like my sketch for the most part isn't like too confusing, line art typically shouldn't take me super long. I think she looks cute so far though. Try to figure out this part. I might do some smaller details. Just because of how her mask cuts into the rest of her body because of how she's posed. She looks so small. But I'm not gonna put the straps in the same way because most of it will be like partially covered anyways. I might leave this as black so I can keep it more solid. Okay, last but not least, Electros. This one tends to be my favorite, so I might just want this one, which I could have kept it from the previous ones I had and just used these as where I've initially placed them in my sketch. So I might actually make these white. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna color the quick ball first. And I'm using this like this color fill tool, basically. You can just do a selection and it fills in your objects. Around this color, and then we're just gonna fill in the details. So this is supposed to be more like black. Oh, I didn't do the patterning per se. A little bit better. Okay, we're just gonna leave it like this. And we're just gonna take a multiply tool, purple, and I'm just gonna add it looks cute like this. I might also change the line art color. So usually for like line art, I like doing a extra darker border for my chibis. But everything underneath would have to be also. 1 second. So basically I have like a black outline, if I lower the opacity, of all of my line art. So for this to work, you have to have your line art at the very top basically, and then the shadow has to sit, or not the shadow, this black outline has to sit underneath your colors and your line work for what I am going to show you to make it work. So I'm going to do is also use this fill tool once again. I'm going to select all of Canary and Electros like this. And as you can see, anywhere that has this gray, it's basically covering up the inside black lines where I had the outline initially. And it kind of gives like only the thicker outline on the outside only. So I need to make sure that areas that don't need gray or the fills. Okay, so basically we have the entire place where both Canary and Electros are filled in. So I have that on a separate layer, and then I clip a folder to this layer so that any subsequent color that's within that folder also stays in where I placed that gray section. Also missed her hand, because that's the problem with putting the line art for the Pokeball and Canary. I don't know if I should just do like my normal. Do like 2 circles like this. Not 2 circles, I guess it's like 2 ovals for the cheeks and then 1 in the center for the nose. Bit of a highlight where her eyelids are. And then she does have a lip. We'll do the white of the eyes. I want to do like the simple eyes as usual for the Chibis. I think every time I try to overcomplicate things, I just dislike it more and more. Here, I also forgot to put some sort of shadow. The thing is, like, I don't know if I want almost like an outline. This is why I'm talking about, like, I tend to change the way I color just on the fly. I don't really have like a rhyme or reason or a plan. This second color, which is more of like a mustardy, dusty yellow. Change the outline color to be also that yellow. Or do you want to go darker? I don't know. I don't know what I want. Sometimes I do eyes like this. Sometimes I color so that this section right here. Because I might check how did I color my Seungwon birthday fan art recently. That's like the last Chibi. That's the last Chibi that I drew, I think. And this is where I debate. Do I want to have a pupil with a highlight? Or do I just want to go like this? Because right now I'm looking at it, I'm liking the pupil and the highlight. Which is usually not the case. She does look cute like this, and could do... Yeah, I think I like this. Maybe we will stick with it. I might hate it later, which is highly plausible. A bluish green color could look cute. Or maybe go pink. Yeah, pink looks better, I think. A little softer. Then the thing I like to do is try to get some of that skin tone in slightly. And I might darken this up a little bit more. So we're just making stuff up on the spot. Actually, I think I like this. Is there a ponytail? They're all... Let's see. Oh, she does have like black tips on this side. That's cute. It's kind of like a Pikachu aesthetic here. I can't wait to work on Corbo next though. He's probably going to be testing whether or not I actually like what this looks like. Because right now it works for a canary because like I feel like she's very like cutesy aesthetic. So I'm going to try to figure this out. Usually I would like block in just like this right across and fill in only the bottom half, which works for a lot of like I feel like characters and aesthetics that I typically draw, but for this I might carve out some more areas to give it a little bit more form so it doesn't read always so flat. And I'm kind of thinking for the highlights, I like to use screen so that I don't have to change color in between. But do we want to do something like this all the way across? The thing is, like, I don't know if I like how I did the cheeks and hair. Same with the lips. Luckily, because I drew her legs separately, at least I can fill these in quite quickly. And then add a little bit of the yellow on either side, and then just really dim it back. Cute. Okay, so for clothing and yeah, I think clothing and accessories, I did miss a few. I just like doing the same thing similar to the hair. So I'm setting a layer to multiply. I'm going to choose a color to basically do our shadows first. So right now our shadows look very green because I'm using like a really light bluish color that's leaning a little bit more on the cooler side rather than purple, but I might have to switch it to purple later. So I'm going to change this to screen. I'm going to try using the same color that I used for shadows for the highlights here. And kind of the same premise as the hair. I just want them very bright. Very shiny, kind of stands out a lot more. But I actually really like how she's looking so far. I also forgot little hair ties. She really just looks like a leech. Cell shading can be fun. I feel like sometimes you can get really lost with doing cell shading. Me included, especially when I don't know how the form I want it to look. So it does make it harder for me to determine where I want the shadows to be. But other than that, cell shading is just fun because it's very bright and punchy almost in a way, or like a lot of contrast depending on what you do with it. So I'm still experimenting to see what I want to do for... I won't use the screen layer. I think it's easier if I can just do it myself. But basically, before I would actually take the shadow color and use it for our lines like this to make it a bit softer, but it won't work for every area. So I think I'm just gonna manually fill these in with colors that I think will work. I think I'm gonna leave Canary as she is. There's only some areas I ended up changing the colors. Which isn't always an option. If I did something like... Problem is like my black outline makes everything look a little bit weird. Because there's gonna be like a harsh separation. Also, why is this happening? I didn't really like how I drew her, so I'm kind of glad that she looks cute here. But I think this is what we're gonna do for the rest of the Chibis. So I'm probably gonna kick it into time lapse and do a voiceover so we can work on maybe Corbeau next. Because like I mentioned, I have this version of Corbeau, which I just don't really like. I don't really like how like the proportionings are and just like his face. I think Scolipede is cute. And then I have this one, which I think I'm also gonna scrap. Maybe I'll make him a freebie or something. Like I said, I'm probably gonna do voiceover. If not, maybe I'll just put some music in the back and you guys can just hang out and watch me draw a bajillion Chibis. The problem with time-lapse, like on this kind of format, I feel like they zip by so quickly. So I'll try to make it so it's a little bit more digestible. If not, I'll do snippets because maybe I'll record the whole thing like I typically do and then chunk it out a little bit. So I will be right back and we'll start with sketching Corbeau.